Alright, this one is M5, Volume 4, and the segment is called Gender Addiction Loop, and this is 24th of September 2010. Stand by.
This segment is generated by a question I received today from an N5 reader. It is more than a simple Q&A. The question was as follows. I have a question about further breaking sexuality loops. I have always been bisexual in a way I never understood until reading M5. My physical loves the sight of an attractive woman, but sexual encounters have always been a horrible mental and spiritual experience. I originally thought it was fears about getting them pregnant, etc., but it is clear that it was the destructive energetic interaction that I didn't like. I love the energetic company of my male friends, but have very little sexual attraction to them. But I would like all this to change. I have been trying hard to shut out my urges towards women and open them to other men. I am curious if this is a possible way to break a loop, through conscious effort. Or does this sort of thing only happen on its own without trying, higher self-manipulation sort of thing? Thanks for everything. Breaking loops, any loop, requires effort on the incarnation's part. It's one thing to recognize a loop and another to work on breaking it. Your body's ID and DNA commands are trying to entice you to connect with the opposite gender in order to, among other things, short out any genuine spiritual progression. The DNA commands are there to keep you bound to the game. True, the fear of pregnancy is something on one's mind with opposite gender sex, although negligible with the same gender. That one is attracted to their same gender for energetic company and a comfort zone not achieved with the opposite gender is evident. Each one is most comfortable with their own gender, as it should be for spiritual compatibility. And now, with the sequentialized RE1ized female, this is greatly enhanced. The union of especially advanced male incarnational energy and any RE1ized female is the most spiritually destructive combination. The RE1ized female's body ID is designed to subjugate the male and transform dark side Pluto energy, the male, to her servant. Anyone who thinks otherwise is deceiving themselves. From what you say, you are dealing with a struggle between body ID and spirit ID. Whatever efforts you make on this are directly affecting your other incarnations, so it must be an incarnational path project. One way to consider breaking this loop is to get therapeutic massages from a male practitioner, and I'm not talking about the wink-wink massage, but a real therapeutic session. With repeated sessions, you should grow more comfortable with same-gender touch. Getting massage from the opposite gender would have the opposite effect. There is a way to enhance one's chakras to transfer energy from the therapist to the receiver. This is something I've developed in my massage techniques. I've used it several times. If used on a mid-level male, he will enjoy it because the spirit temporarily wins under my touch, but when it was over, the day after, the body ID took over with full force and the shields were up according to DNA panic commands. Mid-levels are not advanced and the benefit to them was temporary, although the energy transfer occurred to that higher self's energy stream. It was an interesting experiment for me to observe. When this type of energy is added to a massage session for an advanced, the more so, the better incarnation, the spirit is able to take that energy and strengthen himself over the body ID and further subjugate the DNA command structure. Spirit energy coming from the same gender physical is greatly enhanced. There not only is no draining of energy, but rather an enhancement of both energies. Spirit energy, involving opposite genders, is very different. The female is physically enhanced due to her natural succubistic nature, as discussed in an earlier segment, and the male is somewhat drained and subdued by it. When receiving therapeutic massage, one must be relaxed and open to the session for it to function. If one is tense and fears the session in any way, it cannot work properly. You do not get a loop broken by not trying. An experiential loop was created by your incarnation, or even a series of incarnations. Take the smoking loop, a very destructive one on many levels. The body warned the incarnation that it was no good when it started. Next it becomes addicted, loop formed. It takes a lot of effort to break this loop. It must be a conscious effort. Success in loop breaking brings major rewards and new paths experiences open to you for it. Not trying is a deception by the body ID which fears the spiritual ID taking over. This same gender addiction loop you're trying to break is an ancient one and a fundamental one of the DNA command structure. While bisexuality is common, the bisexuals favor the opposite gender. This is because the Orion model is bisexual in matters of sex, but that's considered a biological function. Actually, their same-gender sexual rumps enhance their sequential spirits to allow them to continue in the opposite gender, in public mode. The same can be said about Earther bisexuals. The higher self requires some low and mid-levels gay lesbian experiences, but these tend to be more physical than spiritual. When dealing with advanced levels, they tend to be more spiritual enhanced by the physical. Sex is the benefit of the relationship and not the reason for it. Very advanced same-gender relationships are spiritually based. Every incarnation is unique, as I've said over and over in N5. Conforming is a sequential mental state. Look inward for your incarnation's direction, experiences and path. What is good for you may only be good for you. Trust in your higher self.